Yo, what is up, guys? This video is going to be a little bit different. Bear with me. It is a bombshell. I mean, seriously, I think we uncovered hard proof the Palm Beach chief of police is actually engaged in a cover-up to protect Donald Trump from what is sitting in those unreleased Epstein files. At the very least, we caught him lying in a major way. And this was after discovering that one of Epstein's lieutenants, the third in command, has been scrubbed from the internet. Dude, it's mind-blowing. I shit you not. We kind of followed this entire paper trail while live. I have broken it down for brevity here, but do me a favor and watch this thing in order, because the way it unfolds is very important for you to get the entire story. You need to get the full picture on this one. And it started, of course, with this clip of Donald Trump talking about being exonerated.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting called into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you and that your administration has something to hide. What's their response?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in. And that's their problem. I don't know. They got to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly?
I've been totally exonerated on Epstein. And it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in. Yeah.
Dude, how many times did he say exonerated in that? I have been exonerated. I've been exonerated. They've been pulled in. They've been pulled in. Now, as you can see, exonerated's carrying a lot of weight there with Trumpy, and that is based on that right-wing media campaign that was just all over the internet, where they were saying Trump called the police in 2006. Supposedly, he called the police chief, Michael Reiter. Right-wingers are trying to say that he helped get Jeffrey Epstein arrested. Now, you're about to see this thing unfold. I'm going to take you through the entire paper trail, and we're going to watch a cover-up happening in plain sight. All right, get yourself a coffee, drop that like, hit the sub button, turn those noties on, and get ready. This is a long one, but I think we just opened up a new angle on this. And I am more convinced than ever that there is something extremely damning in the rest of those files. Trump, dude, we're coming for you, boss. Oh, get away from me. Dude, we're coming. All right, let's get into it. By the time when they arrested Epstein in 2019 at Teterboro, it was a little more of a surprise. Okay, he was not aware that it was coming. And so they did raid his New York mansion. They kicked the fucking door in, and they found a bunch of tapes. They found a bunch of like burned CDs with video and shit at his New York mansion. They found a bunch of hard drives in his safe at the mansion. He like put shit on compact disc. And so they have a lot of stuff, okay? A lot, because they surprised. It was a surprise. He was coming back from Paris. He did not know he was getting arrested. He was not aware that, like, at all. There were like entire drawers just filled with compact discs of video. There were like many drawers of this shit. They found entire cabinets, okay, right, filled with tapes, and then his safe was filled with hard drives and shit. So there was like a treasure trove of stuff found in various spots on the mansion. This is one that is filled with, like, what are these? Those are hard drives, right? Just a ton of fucking hard drives, boss. So there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. And I'm sure a lot got destroyed. I am sure that there was probably a ton at Zorro Ranch. Now, what we haven't been able to explain is why Sarah Kellen, Nadia Marcinkova, Leslie Groff, and Adriana Ross are not in jail right now, okay? They should all be arrested because those four women, and we're going to look at Sarah Kellen tomorrow because there's some weird improprieties with her and her husband, the Vickers guy, where it looks like Epstein was paying them off, and it looks like Ivanka Trump might be involved in that. I don't want to give it away too early, but we're going to look at Sarah Kellen tomorrow. She's got to get arrested, okay? She absolutely does. She is also the woman in the famous, like, Clinton jacuzzi shot, okay? That's Sarah Kellen right there. She should not have been redacted. She was on that trip to Brunei with Clinton and Epstein. She was the assistant that went along. Now, here's what's going to be interesting about this, guys. Somewhere along the line, somebody connected to Zorro, a groundskeeper, a security person, somebody close to Epstein, somebody took some of that shit or copied that shit. Somebody did, guys. There is no doubt in my mind whether that person ever comes forward. It's like, when you think about it, once he got arrested, just follow my train of thought here, guys. Okay? If you're working for this guy and he gets arrested and he gets pulled up and you know the FBI is coming in there, maybe they're going to search that Zorro Ranch, and you're like, holy fuck, I could go to prison for life. The one way you guarantee not going to prison for life is, like, guess what I have? I have damning evidence that will allow you to prosecute the people who did this, right? It is like, it's your ticket to freedom, guys. If you work there, that is your ticket to freedom. So anybody who had a survival instinct, anybody who wanted to make sure if the knock came on their door, they were going to protect themselves from being the fall guy, you had to take something. So I know somebody has it. I wouldn't be surprised if Sarah Kellen and Nadia Marcinkova, if those women have it. Now, obviously, the risk is you pull this shit out and you may end up, with some concrete shoes on. All right. Right? You may. Somebody said Sarah Kellen's Wikipedia page was down. No, her Wikipedia page is here. Oh, weird. No, dude. Whoa. Oh, shit. Dude. It switches to Brian Vickers. What the hell, bro? That's crazy. Because look, it even still says Sarah Kellen. Look at that, dude. It says Sarah Kellen, but you click on it and it goes to her husband, Brian Vickers. And guys, this is like new, okay? If we go to the Wayback Machine, we'll go back a month ago and look at this. There was a significant page of hers. Dude, her page got nuked, bro. That's wild, boss. Now, guys, I've said this. You know, I've talked about Sarah Kellen. We even did a video about her. This is 6 months ago. That was the first video about Sarah Kellen. I also did this video about the 4 lieutenants. This one was a month ago. I literally believe that these 4 women right here are like central to this. And Sarah Kellen might be the biggest of the big guys. Okay? I shit you not. She absolutely is. She was the closest to Ghislaine. She was the one who managed all of the girls basically in Palm Beach. And she went on most of the travels. Look at this right here. Okay? She went on 350 flights, guys. 350. That is insane. 1,098 flights with Epstein, 852 with Ghislaine. So Ghislaine was almost on every flight. Sarah Kellen was on 350. So next to Ghislaine Maxwell, like Sarah Kellen is like the next person who knows it all. She knows it all, guys. It's astonishing. And that's her too. This is her at the ranch at Zorro. She absolutely should be in front of the oversight committee. I mean, she was on so many flights, guys. She knows so much. Other than Ghislaine Maxwell, there is nobody that knows more about like Epstein and who did what and who went where than Sarah Kellen did. But I'm telling you right now, this woman right here, I feel like this woman is the next Ghislaine Maxwell. Sarah Kellen is everything. Somebody said that there were some details about what they're trying to remove. It says it's a debate of the proposed deletion of the article. So they're trying to remove her part. Like, dude, she's just like super famous. And then it redirects to Vickers. What I find unusual about this is she's famous. She is famous because of her like proximity to Jeffrey Epstein. And when was this started? This is like brand new. They're starting this like about a week ago. It said February 14th, it was semi-protected. So this went to semi-protected status 3 days ago. So that's when they pulled it. But what's crazy though, guys, is let's see if something significant happened on the 14th, shall we? Did anything significant happen in the Epstein case on February 14? See, this is where AI is useful. So the DOJ sent a mandated letter regarding the final tranche. I'm curious about this. Palm Beach Police 2001. Oh, shit, bro. There it is, dude. That's the article. Okay. Epstein investigation began years earlier than previously believed. This is super important. Palm Beach police dug through nude photographs in Epstein's trash years before what was believed to be the first investigation. Now, guys, this is a bombshell. Because the timeline of this was that it was 2005 when they first discovered something was going on. The police chief was Reiter and the detective was Reiter. Okay. And Reiter got put on this case and started investigating based on a phone call from the stepmother of a girl who had gotten in a fight at school. They were calling her a slut because of her going and doing this shit with this old guy. And there was a fight. And the school administrators broke up the fight. And the principal, they looked through this girl's purse and she had $300 in it. This student, she was like 15. And this is 2005. It's a lot of money. Okay. $300. So what ended up happening is they called her stepmom, and her stepmom was like, what the fuck is going on? There's a fight about some old guy that you're going to his house and you have $300. And so the stepmom called the Palm Beach police. That was the event that set this off. Again, that was 2005. Okay. Now this investigation, by the time it got to 2006, they had like 60 victims. All teen girls in and around Palm Beach. Now, that's when Trump called, and guys, for the record, okay, we do need to clear this up here. For the record, Donald Trump did not call a police chief and give him information about Epstein. He did not call and turn him in. He did not call and help him get prosecuted. Donald Trump called and said, good job. I'm glad you got him. Everybody knows he's bad. And Ghislaine Maxwell, too, she's evil. That was it. All Donald Trump did was say, word on the street is this guy's pretty bad. I'm really glad you got him. But let's see this, okay? A look into the 2001-2002 Palm Beach investigation of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that went nowhere. So now we're discovering that 4 years before that parent, they were already investigating him. Wow. Dude, that's like a bombshell. Police investigated Epstein and Ghislaine in 2001, years earlier. 3 college students reported being recruited by Maxwell to work at Epstein's mansion. One said Epstein had her remove her shirt, made her extremely uncomfortable. Police surveillance and garbage searches in 2002 uncovered nude photographs but found no evidence of a crime, I guess presumably because those college students were of age. The agency's early attempts to investigate the complaints, which they deemed unfounded, but also contradict statements by former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter, who has long said that the first victims discovered by police did not implicate Maxwell. Dude, see, this is crazy. Why is this crazy? I'm in lawyer mode right now. And let me just tell you why this paragraph right here is a bombshell. Because the Trump blurb, that blurb that all of the right-wingers were posting that said Trump called me and right, the thing they're using to exonerate, right here, says here, Trump knew Epstein was disgusting. Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative. She is evil, and to focus on her. Trump told blank that he was around Epstein when teenagers were present, and he got the hell out of there. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out they were investigating Epstein. Now, why is this important, guys? Okay, is because of this. Because this is saying the information that the Palm Beach Post uncovered that they were investigating in 2001 is saying that the police chief, Michael Reiter, lied. They're saying that Michael Reiter, when they investigated in 2005, he said, we have never investigated Jeffrey Epstein. And now what they're saying is that Michael Reiter was lying because they had, and he had been police chief, which means that this statement by Michael Reiter is now impeachable. Because if Michael Reiter has been caught lying that when he investigated in 2005, he was lying about having previously investigated Epstein, that means this statement about Trump is like totally impeachable. In court, it would be like he would be sunk as a witness right there, because now they caught the police chief fucking lying. This is crazy. Okay, Reiter reached for comment by the Palm Beach Post, said he did not know about his agency's 2001 investigation until recently when he read the report in the Epstein files. Reiter said a police chief cannot be aware of every report or investigation, but said he was surprised his officers didn't mention the prior complaint once the 2000 investigation began, dude. Dude, come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about? That is such bullshit. Let me just tell you, if they are investigating one of the wealthiest people on Palm Beach Island for potential sex crimes, they would tell the police chief just so he would not be blindsided and all of a sudden have it come up in a press conference like, oh, by the way, we hear that Jeffrey Epstein is being, investigated. Like, this is absolutely untrue. Like, I believe that a police chief is not aware of every report or investigation, but there is no way the police chief would not be aware of a potential sex crime investigation with one of the wealthiest people on that island that could sink them all, right? That could sink the police department. Like, come on, bro. According to one officer who is not named in the report, 3 students attending Palm Beach Atlantic University in West Palm told city police they'd been approached by Maxwell on campus. Maxwell told the girls she needed young, beautiful, unmarried women to work at Epstein's mansion on Palm Beach. The students' college roommates, whose ages are not listed in the documents, but who were referred to as girls, said they went to the Epstein's house on several occasions and were paid $200 a day to answer phones. Okay, the calls came from men saying when they were going to drop off particular girls. Whoa, dude. Yeah, the officer's not named. Dude, this is intense. And what's crazy about this, guys, is how the calls were from men telling when they were dropping off girls. So, like, there is some other, like, men involved in pimping. I don't know what was going on with this, but this is prior to the females being the procurers. All three girls said Maxwell and Epstein were secretive about what was going on in the house, and two said Epstein touched them inappropriately. According to the document titled Prostitution-Epstein, West Palm Beach Police referred the information to Palm Beach Police. So this is interesting because now you definitely know the chief is probably notified about this because it was West Palm bringing it to Palm Beach. 4 days later, Sergeant George Frick shared the tip with the detective identified as A. Taylor. Taylor made numerous attempts to reach the girls at their dorm telephone between December and January, received no answer. The detective also ran background checks on Epstein and Maxwell, which returned no evidence of a criminal history. All right, beginning in January and continuing through April, Taylor said Palm Beach police officers dug through the garbage at Epstein's mansion. So there is no way, bro. There is no way cops were digging through the mansion of a rich, wealthy, well-known, powerful guy in Palm Beach without Chief Michael Reiter being aware of this, dude. There's no way, dude. Like, yeah, we're digging through the trash, okay? They found nude photographs. They found directory listings for massages in New York and the United Kingdom, daily calendars, a list titled People That I Want You to Meet, which contain female names, ages, and descriptions of what they do. By the way, guys, in 2001, Virginia Giuffre was like, this was the year that she was on that yacht with Naomi Campbell. Okay? So this is absolutely like prostitution stuff. Officers compiled a list of all of Epstein's known associates. They conducted drive-by surveillance of his home, recorded the tag numbers of cars parked there. They sought subpoenas from the state attorney's office to investigate calls to and from Epstein's property, though according to Taylor, these returned nothing unusual. Taylor continued to call the students throughout this time, received no answer. The detective then called Palm Beach Atlantic, a private Christian university, relayed the information received by West Palm Beach police. Campus employees told Taylor two of the girls had since moved off campus, but one remained. Security officers searched the girls' dorm room in April 2002, found bottles of liquor and a paper with the name of pornographic website, okay, as well as information about some type of adult work that paid $2,200 weekly. Okay, this is a Christian university, guys. What the fuck, bro? Nothing else was found. Redacted is handling all discipline, which included expelling the girl from campus housing. Okay, so then they searched her room and she got expelled, dude. Like, WTF, bro? They find things that like are implying prostitution. Then one of the girls who went to the police, they search her dorm room and they expel her. Dude, I mean, if you're wondering why no one comes forward anymore, right? Like, Jesus. Taylor and Frick interviewed two girls after the search. Both said Maxwell recruited them for administrative work at El Brio Way home. Although they felt there was something weird about the people living there, the girls reportedly said they didn't see anything illegal. In a subsequent interview, the third girl said she didn't recall anything illegal happening, though there were nude photographs of women all over. She added that there were women running around the pool area topless and that people were always getting massages. She told Taylor and Frick that the millionaire financier once offered her a massage. Epstein didn't touch her himself, she said. A tech gave the massage. He did, however, tell her to take off her shirt. She told the officers it made her extremely uncomfortable, and she had not been back since. Taylor concluded the report by writing that although it appeared unusual activity was occurring from the home at this time, no illegal activity has been reported or detected. But like, bro, dude, you gotta have a suspicion that it was going on. Like, come on, man. The report indicates it was last updated August 2004. That is 2.5 years after West Palm Beach police passed along the tip of Maxwell recruiting students, and 7 months before the stepmother of a 14-year-old Royal Palm Beach High student told Palm Beach police that Epstein had done stuff to the daughter, right? Launching what was the first investigation. Dude, that's crazy. So, dude, Palm Beach police resumed their surveillance and trash pulls without informing their chief of the 3 girls whose complaints predated the tip, according to Reiter. So Reiter is saying that when this new call came in, these guys investigated it, but they never told him, oh, by the way, a couple years ago, we actually went through this guy's trash and found some evidence. Dude, no. Or the chief didn't ask, is there anything prior? Like, what do we have on this guy? Have we had anything on Epstein before? Dude, this fucking stinks like Trump's asshole, boss. I'm serious, dude. It smells like 100 Trump diapers in here. Seriously. Bro, I'm going to need to open a window. If I fucking just keel over, it's from the smell. Taylor's name does not appear again in the files documenting the 2005 investigation, but Frick's does. He and fellow detectives interviewed more victims who led to other victims. Dude, that is insane, bro. That is absolutely insane. Seriously. Guys, my mind is fucking blown right now that we stumbled upon this. Dude, we did it live too. Like, what the fuck is going on, bro? Now, guys, I have a feeling this is going to get even more interesting tomorrow, okay? Because, again, I have information here that there are payments from Jeffrey Epstein to an entity that has to do with Sarah Kellen and Brian Vickers in 2014, which is years after this, and there is some satellite involvement. I have not looked at it yet, but there is a possibility that Ivanka Trump was connected to the company that was managing those payments. So I don't know what that means yet, but there is possible that after this whole thing and after Sarah Kellen, whose Wikipedia page just disappeared, okay, who literally just got scrubbed from the internet, there's a possibility that she was getting continued payments, her and her husband, Brian Vickers, for years after this, and that Ivanka Trump was somehow connected to that money. But anyway, so then during the 90s was Trump and Epstein, okay? And they were primarily having parties with modeling girls. And this is when Trump was very close to John Casablancas from Elite Models, and they did the Look of the Year stuff, a modeling contest for teenagers where Elite Models went and looked for people. And this was this video here, okay? There's a lot of videos here kicking around where these young girls would come out and they would go and try to win modeling contracts, okay? And there was a celebrity panel of people, and one of them is Donald fucking Trump, okay? This is 1991, okay? And this was the thing that happened during the 90s, okay? And this was led by John Casablancas, who is the guy over here who owned the agency. And these girls would come through and they would walk in and they would be competing to win the Look of the Year. This was how Trump and Epstein got involved in the girl parties. Okay. All right. And they had a whole video of this. All of these girls, many of them were very young. Okay. They were very young. The girls competing for this. This was how Trump and Epstein hung out with women, was modeling agency things. And by the end of the 90s, Trump here had his own modeling agency. Okay. So now the reason why I'm bringing this up is this investigation here in Palm Beach, 2001, because according to this, they were recruiting girls to answer the phones. Then he gets investigated. They find this shit. They don't do anything, but already there's topless girls running around the house. This is probably when the Michael Wolff photos were taken of Donald Trump. But then it seems like he refined it. Okay, those Christian girls from the university that answered phones never came back. And eventually he found girls to find girls. So now there's nobody answering the phones anymore. There's just girls out there finding girls. Ghislaine's not even finding girls. There's girls finding the girls and bringing girls. And so it seems like he evolved it sort of beyond what it was. And then it became this multi-layered sort of operation. And that's pretty wild when you think about it, that it went from the look of the year, an elite modeling agency, and there being sideliners to the modeling industry. Then by the end of the 90s, Trump has a modeling agency. And then in the early 2000s, Epstein has a modeling agency. So then they had their own agencies. And then eventually there is girls answering phones at El Brillo Way, and men are delivering girls. And they're I don't know, Epstein, it seemed like he was selling them out to people or something. And then there's teenage girls finding other teenage girls. And it's becoming this pyramid scheme after that. But it appeared like there was quite a progression. Now, we don't know if Sarah Kellen was working for Epstein during that first investigation. We don't know. We have no idea. I mean, we know she was there by 2002. And it did say in this, they dug through the garbage in April 2002, and they continued building this case. And then they continued updating it through August 2004. So they occasionally went back and updated that original case even before the second thing. So Sarah Kellen was definitely working here during this, at least at the end. I don't know if she was there in the beginning. Bro, I don't know. My mind's a little bit blown. My mind's a little bit blown too, that all of this sort of happened a couple days ago. And simultaneously, while this is going on, is right around the time that Elon has had this continued fight with Reid Hoffman. So Elon is making a huge deal about Reid Hoffman. And it just makes me wonder, because none of this shit was dominant on Twitter. Okay, the last 3 days, the only shit I've seen on Twitter has been Reid Hoffman, and Elon has been exonerated, and Trump running around saying I had nothing to do with Epstein. And yet, underneath that, there's a whole bunch of shit going on, behind the scenes. This is a big one. This is significant though, because it impeaches Michael Reiter, the police chief, okay, who supposedly is the guy vouching for Trump having called, okay? It sets a timeline of the fact that while Virginia Giuffre was being trafficked in the early stages, okay, there already had some suspicion that there was a prostitution ring. There's corroboration of the topless girls out in the back by the pool from some girls from a Christian university. So these are not druggies that are making shit up, okay? There's a lot of like cross corroboration here with shit that Michael Wolff has talked about. This is pretty major. And I imagine it's falling by the wayside because of other really relevant shit. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.